B blood. That's all it took to save the woman who had everything. Ava Whitmore, the CEO who crushed competitors without mercy, lay dying while the world's best doctors stood helpless. Then a stranger's blood flowed into her veins, and the impossible happened. She lived. But the man who saved her vanished before she could even say thank you, leaving behind only 5 words that would haunt her forever. You can't buy what was never for sale. The doctor said she had 6 hours to live, but Ava Whitmore wasn't listening anymore. She had stopped listening 3 specialists ago, right around the time the 4th one walked in, looking like he'd already written her obituary. They all had the same expression, that practiced sympathetic mask they wore when they knew the checkbook couldn't save you this time. When science hit its limit and all those billions in the bank account meant exactly nothing. Miss Whitmore, your immune system is attacking your blood cells faster than we can replace them. We've tried every treatment protocol, immunosuppressants, plasmapheresis, monoclonal antibodies. Nothing is working. The reaction is accelerating, and we don't know why. Dr. Chen, head of hematology at Manhattan Presbyterian, stood at the foot of her bed like he was delivering a quarterly earnings report. Clinical, detached. She almost respected that. So I'm dying, Ava said. Her voice came out raspier than she intended, weaker. She hated that. Without a compatible blood transfusion with a very rare antigen combination, yes, and Miss Whitmore, I need to be clear, this isn't about finding type O negative. Your antibodies are rejecting everything. We need someone whose blood your body won't fight. The odds of finding that person in time are astronomically low. Ava closed her eyes. 38 years old, built a biotech empire from nothing, turned a failing pharmaceutical startup into a $12 billion company, made Forbes before 30. And now her own body was staging a hostile takeover she couldn't stop. The irony almost made her laugh. Almost. How long do I have, really? Dr. Chen glanced at his tablet. 4 to 6 hours before organ failure begins. Maybe 8 if we're lucky. Luck. Ava's laugh came out as a cough. Never believed in it much. We're running every donor database, international registries, military records. We're searching everywhere, Miss Whitmore. Call me Ava. If I'm dying, let's drop the formalities. He nodded and left. The machines around her beeped their steady countdown, each beep another second closer to the end. She'd always imagined she'd die old in some penthouse office still closing deals. Not like this. Not helpless in a hospital bed while her body cannibalized itself. The door opened again. Ava didn't bother looking. Another doctor with another hopeless update, probably. Miss Whitmore. This voice was different. Younger, female, nervous. Ava opened her eyes. A nurse, maybe 25, clutched a tablet like it might explode. What is it? We found someone, a donor. His blood is a match. It's actually more than a match. Dr. Chen says he's never seen anything like it. The antigen profile is exactly what you need. Ava's heart weak as it was kicked harder. Where is he? Get him here now. I'll pay whatever he wants. 10 million, 20, whatever it takes. The nurse bit her lip. He's already here in the ER. He was donating blood when we ran the emergency crossmatch. But Miss Whitmore, there's something you should know. I don't care if he's a convicted felon. Get him here and get his blood in me now. It's not that. He's a doctor, works part-time in our ER. Dr. James Rohr, former Army medic. He agreed immediately when we told him about your condition. He's prepping now. Relief flooded through Ava, so intense she felt dizzy. Or maybe that was the dying. Hard to tell anymore. Good. Tell him I'll write him a check the moment I can hold a pen. The nurse hesitated. Ma'am, he said to tell you something. He said, and these are his exact words, tell her this isn't a transaction. It's just what you do. Ava frowned. What does that mean? I don't know, ma'am, but he's on his way up now. 20 minutes later, Ava Whitmore's life was saved by a stranger's blood. She didn't see him. The transfusion happened while she was barely conscious, floating in that gray space between awake and gone, but she felt it. The moment his blood entered her veins, something shifted. The fire in her chest cooled. The pressure behind her eyes eased. Her body, which had been at war with itself, suddenly remembered how to be calm. When she finally opened her eyes, really opened them, the first thing she saw was Dr. Chen's shocked face. "You're stable. Your antibody levels are dropping. I don't understand it. This shouldn't be possible. His blood isn't just compatible, it's like it's teaching your immune system to stand down. I've never seen anything like this." "Where is he?" Ava's voice was stronger now, clear. "The donor, Dr. Rohr. I need to talk to him." Dr. Chen glanced at the door. "He left about 30 minutes ago. Said he had a shift to finish." "Bring him back." Miss Whitmore, he was quite clear. He didn't want any recognition, didn't want to be thanked, just wanted to help and move on. Ava stared at him. Nobody does something like this and asks for nothing. Apparently, some people do. That was impossible. Ava had built her entire empire on understanding human nature. Everyone wanted something. Everyone had a price. Money, power, recognition, leverage. There was always an angle. "Find him. I want to talk to him. He's off the clock now." And Miss Whitmore, he specifically asked that we not give out his contact information. For the first time in years, Ava Whitmore felt something she barely recognized. Not gratitude, not exactly. It was stranger than that. It was the uncomfortable realization that someone had saved her life and wanted nothing in return. That somewhere in this city was a man who looked at her, at everything she represented, and decided the most valuable thing he could do was walk away without taking a single thing. That didn't make sense. Nothing in her world worked that way. But she was alive, and she was going to find out why this man was different from everyone else she'd ever met. 3 days later, Ava Whitmore walked out of Manhattan Presbyterian on her own feet. The press was waiting. They always were. Cameras flashed like a firing squad. Questions came from every direction. "Miss Whitmore, what happened? Is it true you nearly died? Was this an assassination attempt? How much did the treatment cost?" Her assistant Marcus, sleek and efficient, as always, ran interference. But Ava stopped at the microphone stand someone had set up. She'd learned early in her career that you controlled the narrative or the narrative controlled you. 3 days ago, I had a severe autoimmune crisis. The best medical team in the world couldn't help me. I was dying. And then a stranger, a doctor who happened to be in the right place at the right time, donated blood that saved my life. That's all I know. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you. She walked to the waiting car, ignoring the shouted follow-ups. Inside the limo, Marcus handed her a tablet. "The board is relieved you're alive, also terrified. They want to discuss succession planning. Tell them to discuss it with someone who cares. I'm not going anywhere. Ava, you almost died. Maybe it's time to think about..." "Marcus, did you find him?" Marcus sighed. He knew that tone. When Ava wanted something, the universe had 2 choices: deliver or get out of the way. "Yes, took some work. He doesn't have social media, barely has a digital footprint, but I found him." Marcus handed her a folder. Thin, surprisingly thin for someone who just saved a CEO's life. Ava opened it. Dr. James Rohr, 39 years old, Army veteran, served as a combat medic for 8 years, 2 tours in Afghanistan, honorable discharge, went to medical school on the GI Bill, emergency medicine resident at Columbia, never finished, dropped out in his last year, current employment part-time ER physician at Manhattan Presbyterian and 2 other hospitals, no permanent position, lives in Brooklyn, widowed, 1 daughter, Amelia, age 10, that was it. No social media profiles, no interviews, no published research, no ambitions visible from the outside. Just a man who'd gone from war zones to emergency rooms and seemed content to stay invisible. Where does he live exactly? Ava, maybe you should just send a thank you note. Where Marcus? He gave her an address in Sunset Park, a neighborhood she'd driven through maybe twice in her life. where normal people lived normal lives that had nothing to do with board meetings and stock prices. Thank you. Clear my schedule tomorrow afternoon. You have the quarterly review with... Cancel it. Marcus knew better than to argue. What are you planning? I'm going to thank him properly, face to face. And if he doesn't want to be thanked... Ava looked at the photo in the file. It was from his military ID. Younger face, harder eyes. A man who'd seen things that left marks. Everyone wants something, Marcus. I just need to figure out what. The next day, Ava Whitmore did something she hadn't done in 15 years. She drove herself. No driver, no security, no assistant. Just her in a rental car because her regular vehicles screamed money and she needed to not scream anything today. Sunset Park looked nothing like her Manhattan. No glass towers, no doormen, just brick buildings with fire escapes and corner stores with signs in 3 languages, real life happening in real time. She found his building, 4 stories old but maintained, not falling apart, not gentrified yet, just existing. She pressed the buzzer for apartment 3B. Silence. She pressed it again. Hello, a child's voice, young, cautious. Hi, I'm looking for Dr. Rohr, James Rohr. Is this the right apartment? Daddy's not home, he's at work. Of course he was, because men like him worked 3 jobs to make ends meet while she'd been born into money and made more. When will he be back? I'm not supposed to tell strangers that. Smart kid. You're right, that's very smart. Can you tell him Ava stopped by? He'll know who I am. Okay, bye. The intercom clicked off. Ava stood on the sidewalk feeling ridiculous. She'd flown to Dubai to close a deal once, negotiated with pharmaceutical giants and government regulators, and she couldn't get past a 10-year-old's security protocol. She was about to leave when a voice behind her said, "You're persistent, I'll give you that." Ava turned. He stood there in scrubs, a backpack slung over one shoulder, looking exactly like his photo, except older in the eyes, tired. But there was something else there, too, something steady. James Rohr looked at her the way you'd look at anyone, not impressed, not intimidated, just looking. Dr. Rohr, you shouldn't be here. Not what she expected. I came to thank you. You already did, at the hospital, through the staff. You sent flowers, expensive ones. That was enough. It wasn't enough. You saved my life. He adjusted the backpack on his shoulder. I donated blood. That's not heroic. That's Tuesday. It was more than blood, and you know it. Your antigen profile, whatever makes your blood unique, it cured me. Doctors said it was impossible. Doctors say a lot of things. He moved toward his building entrance. If you're here to offer me money, don't bother. I don't want it. Ava followed him. Why not? He stopped, turned. His eyes were gray, she noticed. Storm cloud gray. Because you think gratitude is ownership. You think if you pay me enough, you can file me away under debts paid and never think about it again. That's how your world works, right? Everything has a price. Everyone has a number. That's not... It is. I've met people like you. You're used to buying solutions, and when something doesn't have a price tag, hashtag you don't know what to do with it. So here's what you do with me. Nothing. Go back to your life. I'll go back to mine. We're even. We're not even. I owe you my life. You don't owe me anything. That's the point you're missing. He started up the steps. Wait. Ava didn't usually beg. But she couldn't let him walk away. Not yet. Why did you leave before I woke up? Why didn't you stay? James paused, hand on the door. Because I didn't do it for gratitude. I did it because someone needed help and I could help them. The second you woke up and I became a story, a transaction, something to be managed, that's when it stopped being about helping. I don't want to be your feel-good moment. That's not what this is. Isn't it? You feel better now, right? You gotta come down to Brooklyn, see how the other half lives, try to press a check into my hand. Very noble, very humbling experience for you, I'm sure. Now you can go back and tell yourself you tried to do the right thing and I was too stubborn to accept it. Conscience clear. Ava felt anger flash through her. Real anger. You don't know anything about me. I know you run Whitmore Biotech. I know you acquired 3 smaller companies last year and laid off 200 people. I know your profit margins are insane because you price medications people need at rates they can't afford. I know exactly what you are. Then why did you save me? The question hung between them like a challenge. James looked at her for a long moment. Because when someone's dying in front of you, you don't run their credit score first. You just help, even when they don't deserve it. He went inside and the door closed behind him. Ava stood there on the steps shaking, not from weakness, from rage, and underneath the rage something worse, something that felt uncomfortably like shame. Nobody talked to her like that. Nobody. She walked back to her car, got in, and sat there for 10 minutes just breathing. Her phone buzzed. Marcus. How did it go? He hates me. So standard Tuesday for you then. This isn't funny, Marcus. What are you going to do? Ava looked up at the building. 3rd floor. She could see a light on. Could imagine him up there with his daughter living a life that had nothing to do with quarterly earnings and market valuations. A life he was choosing on purpose. I don't know yet, she said, but that was a lie. She knew exactly what she was going to do. She was going to figure out what made Dr. James Rohr different from every other person on this planet. She was going to understand why he'd saved her and asked for nothing. And she was going to prove to him that she wasn't just some heartless CEO who saw the world as a balance sheet, even if it killed her trying, because Ava Whitmore didn't leave debts unpaid, and she definitely didn't walk away when someone told her no. That night back in her penthouse, Ava couldn't sleep. She stood at her floor-to-ceiling windows, looking down at Manhattan. All those lights, all those lives. She'd spent 20 years clawing her way up to this view, and she'd never once questioned whether it was worth it. Until now. Her phone rang. Midnight, only a few people had this number. Hello, Miss Whitmore, this is Dr. Chen. I'm sorry to call so late, but we need you to come back to the hospital. Ava's blood went cold. What happened? Did something go wrong? No, nothing like that. You're stable, but we need to run more tests. Your blood work is showing some unusual markers. Nothing dangerous, but we want to understand what Dr. Rohr's transfusion did to your system long term. Can you come in tomorrow morning? What kind of markers? His antigens are still in your bloodstream. Usually, foreign blood cells cycle out within weeks. Yours aren't. They're adapting, integrating. It's like your body adopted his blood profile instead of just accepting it temporarily. Miss Whitmore, this could be significant. This could change how we treat autoimmune diseases. Ava closed her eyes. Of course, even his blood wouldn't do things the normal way. I'll be there at 8. She hung up and looked at her reflection in the dark window. Somewhere in her veins, pieces of James Rohr were keeping her alive. His antigens, his immunity. His blood was literally inside her, teaching her body how to survive. The intimacy of that hit her suddenly. This stranger, this man who wanted nothing from her, was more connected to her than anyone else on earth right now. He'd given her part of himself and walked away like it meant nothing, but it meant everything. And whether Dr. James Rohr liked it or not, this wasn't over, not by a long shot. 2 weeks passed before Ava saw James again, and it wasn't by choice. Dr. Chen had insisted on follow-up appointments every 3 days to monitor what he kept calling the phenomenon. That's what she'd become to the medical community, a phenomenon, a case study, the CEO whose body had merged with a stranger's blood like they'd been designed for each other all along. She was sitting in the hospital waiting room when she heard the voice. "Daddy, can we get ice cream after?" Ava looked up. A little girl with dark braids and her father's gray eyes stood near the elevator holding James's hand. She wore a school uniform and light-up sneakers that blinked with every step. Amelia had to be. James saw Ava the same moment she saw him. His expression didn't change much, just a slight tightening around his eyes. The universal look of someone who'd rather be anywhere else. Maybe, depends on how long this takes. It never takes long. You just give blood and we leave. Not today. Today they want to run some extra tests. Amelia noticed Ava staring. Kids always did. They had that radar for when adults were pretending not to look. "Hi," the girl said. "Hi." Ava managed to smile. She wasn't great with kids, never had been. Her world didn't include juice boxes and bedtime stories. "Do you work here?" "No, I'm a patient, sort of." "What's wrong with you?" "Amelia," James said quietly. "That's not polite. But you always say doctors need to ask questions." "I'm not her doctor." Ava stood up. She couldn't help herself. "It's okay. I was sick. Your dad helped me get better." Amelia's face lit up. "Are you the lady, the one Daddy saved?" James's jaw tightened. "We need to check in." "But Daddy, is she? She's pretty, like you said. Rich people are pretty." "I never said that. You said she probably had fancy doctors and nice clothes and lived in a building with a doorman. That's pretty." Ava almost laughed. Almost. "He said that, did he?" James looked at her for the first time with something other than anger. It might have been embarrassment. Hard to tell. "We should go," he said. "Wait." Ava didn't plan what came next. It just came out. "Can I buy you lunch, both of you, after your appointment, as a thank you?" "We don't need ice cream," Amelia said loudly. "Can we have ice cream for lunch?" "You can't have ice cream for lunch." "But she's offering lunch, and I want ice cream, so it's basically the same thing." James looked at his daughter, then at Ava, then back at his daughter, the look of a man who knew he was outnumbered. "1 hour, that's it, and you're having real food first." Amelia pumped her fist. Yes. That's how Ava Whitmore ended up in a diner in Brooklyn 3 hours later, watching a 10-year-old girl demolish a grilled cheese while her father sat across the booth looking like he'd rather be in surgery. "So you're really super rich?" Amelia asked between bites. "Amelia," James warned, "what I'm just asking. Kids at school say rich people are different, like aliens, but with better phones." Ava found herself smiling, real smile this time, not the corporate one. "I have a lot of money, yes." "How much?" "Amelia, I'm just curious. Daddy says curiosity is how we learn. I also say there's a time and place." Ava looked at James. He was tense, ready to bolt the second this got uncomfortable. But Amelia seemed genuinely interested, not judgmental, just a kid asking questions. "Enough that I don't worry about buying groceries," Ava said carefully, "but not enough to buy happiness. That's not how money works. Daddy says money can't buy happiness, but it can buy security, and that's close enough." James set down his coffee. "I did not say that. You did. Last month when Mrs. Rodriguez asked why you work 3 jobs, you said money can't buy happiness, but it keeps the lights on and Amelia fed, and that's what matters." He didn't argue with that. Ava felt something twist in her chest. 3 jobs. He'd walked away from her money and went back to working 3 jobs to raise his daughter alone. "Your dad's right," Ava said. "Security matters." "But you're not secure," Amelia said. "You were sick, really sick. Daddy said you almost died." "Amelia, that's enough." "But she did, and you saved her. That makes you a hero." James looked at his daughter with such pure exhaustion that Ava recognized it. The tiredness of someone who loved someone so much, it hurt. "I'm not a hero, I just did what anyone would do." "Not anyone, you did. And now she's here having lunch with us, which means she's grateful, and that's good manners, and you're always saying good manners matter." Ava laughed, actually laughed. "She's got you there." James almost smiled. Almost. "She usually does." They ate in comfortable silence for a while. Amelia talked about school, about her friend Maya, who could do a backflip, about her science project on ecosystems. Normal kid stuff, the kind of stuff Ava had never experienced growing up. Her childhood had been boarding schools and tutors and parents who measured success in achievements, not backflips. When Amelia excused herself to the bathroom, James finally looked at Ava directly. "Why are you really here? I told you to say thank you." "You already did that multiple times. What do you actually want?" Ava folded her napkin. "I want to understand you." "There's nothing to understand. I'm just a guy trying to raise his kid and pay his bills." "You're more than that." "No, I'm really not. You've built me up in your head as something I'm not. Some noble figure who saved your life for pure reasons. Truth is simpler. I saw someone dying and I could help. That's it. No deeper meaning." "Your blood is still in my veins," Ava said quietly. "Did Dr. Chen tell you that your antigens integrated into my system? They're not going away. Every test they run shows the same thing. Part of you is keeping me alive every single day." James was quiet for a long moment. "I didn't know that. So whether you like it or not, we're connected now, medically, literally, and I need to understand why you won't let me help you back. Because I don't need your help. 3 Jobs says otherwise." His eyes went cold. "Don't. I'm not trying to offend you. I'm trying to what? Fix me. Add me to your portfolio of charitable causes. I've seen how people like you operate. You find someone struggling, you throw money at them, you feel better about yourself, and then you move on to the next project. I'm not a project." "That's not what I'm doing, isn't it?" Amelia came back before Ava could answer, still talking about her science project, oblivious to the tension crackling between the adults. They left the diner 20 minutes later. Amelia hugged Ava goodbye without hesitation, the way kids do when they decide they like someone. James just nodded, already steering his daughter toward the subway. Ava watched them go and felt something she couldn't name, something that felt dangerously close to loneliness. The next 3 weeks passed in a strange rhythm. Ava went back to work, board meetings and acquisitions and all the things that used to feel important, but something had shifted. She found herself distracted during presentations, thinking about James's words, about the 200 people she'd laid off, about medication prices, about profit margins built on people's desperation. She'd never questioned it before. Business was business. You maximize shareholder value. That was the job. But his blood was in her veins now, his antigens keeping her cells from attacking themselves. And she couldn't shake the feeling that maybe she owed him more than gratitude. Maybe she owed him proof that she wasn't what he thought she was. Her COO, Andrew, knocked on her office door late one Tuesday. "We need to talk about the Manhattan Presbyterian donation." Ava looked up from her laptop. "What about it?" "You pledged $5 million to their new research wing. The board thinks it's excessive, especially given your recent medical episode. They're worried you're making emotional decisions." "My medical episode saved my life, and that hospital is where it happened. $5 million is nothing." Andrew sat down without being invited. He had a way of doing that, taking up space he hadn't earned. "The board is also concerned about your focus. You've missed 3 meetings this month. You left the quarterly review early. People are talking. Let them talk. Ava, I'm on your side here, but you need to show strength. Show them you're still the same decisive leader they trust. This softness, this gratitude tour you're on, it's making people nervous." Gratitude tour, the hospital donations, the community clinic funding, the price reduction on 3 of our medications. These aren't the moves of someone thinking clearly about the bottom line. Ava closed her laptop. "Get out." "Excuse me. I said get out. And Andrew, watch how you talk about my decisions. You're CAO, not CEO. Remember which one of us actually runs this company." He left, but his expression said the conversation wasn't over. That night, Ava couldn't sleep again. She kept thinking about Andrew's words. Softness, gratitude tour, like kindness was a weakness to be exploited. Maybe it was. In her world, maybe it was. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Hello. Is this Ava Whitmore?" Male voice. unfamiliar, tense. Who is this? My name is Detective Marco Santos, NYPD. I'm calling about Dr. James Rohr. You know him. Ava's heart stopped. Yes, what happened? Is he okay? He's fine, but there's been an incident, a fire at his residence. His daughter was inside. The world tilted sideways. Is she? She's alive. Dr. Rohr got her out, but the building's destroyed and we have questions about how it started. Dr. Rohr mentioned you might be able to help with temporary housing, said you'd offered to help him before. Ava was already grabbing her keys. What hospital? Mercy General. But Miss Whitmore, there's something else. We found accelerant traces. This wasn't an accident. Someone set that fire deliberately. She drove 90 miles an hour across the bridge, didn't care about tickets, didn't care about anything except getting there. The ER waiting room smelled like smoke and fear. She found James sitting in a plastic chair, his face covered in soot, holding Amelia, who was wrapped in a blanket with an oxygen mask. The girl was crying, shaking. James just held her and whispered things Ava couldn't hear. When he saw Ava, something in his expression cracked. She's okay, he said. His voice was raw. Minor smoke inhalation. They're admitting her for observation, but she's okay. Ava sat down next to them. What happened? I don't know. I was at work. Amelia was with Mrs. Rodriguez next door. She smelled smoke. Got Amelia out, called 911. By the time I got there, the whole third floor was gone. The detective said it was arson. James's jaw tightened. Yeah. Who would do this? I don't know, but his eyes said he had suspicions. Amelia lifted her head. Daddy, where are we going to live? I don't know, baby, but we'll figure it out. We always do. All my stuff is gone, my books, my science project, everything. We'll get new stuff. But Maya gave me that friendship bracelet, and now it's burned, and she's going to think I didn't care about it. James closed his eyes. Ava could see him calculating. Hotel costs, new clothes, school supplies, deposit on a new apartment. All the things that added up to impossible when you were already stretched thin. Come stay with me, Ava said. Both of them looked at her. What? James said. I have space. Plenty of space. More bedrooms than I know what to do with. Stay there while you figure things out. No strings, no rent, just somewhere safe until you get back on your feet. We can't. Yes, you can, and you will, because your daughter just lost everything and she needs stability and you're too proud to ask for help, but I'm offering anyway, so take it. Ava, this isn't charity. This isn't me trying to fix you. This is me helping because that's what people do. Remember, that's what you told me. When someone needs help and you can help, you just help, even when they don't deserve it. James looked at her for a long moment. Then he looked at Amelia, who was watching them both with huge eyes. Please, Daddy, Amelia whispered, but I'm scared. That's what broke him. Ava could see it. The moment he realized his pride mattered less than his daughter's fear. 1 week, he said, until I find something else. However long you need. They moved in that night. Ava's penthouse had 4 bedrooms. She gave Amelia the one with the best view, the one that looked out over Central Park, gave James the room next to her, made up beds with sheets that probably cost more than his monthly rent. Amelia fell asleep almost immediately, exhausted from trauma and tears. James stood in Ava's living room looking shell-shocked. I don't know how to thank you, he said. Then don't. Just let me help. Why? Because when I was dying, you saved me without asking questions. Maybe it's my turn. He nodded slowly. The police think someone targeted me, specifically. The fire started in my apartment, not the hallway. Someone wanted to hurt me. Do you know who? I have ideas. Had a patient die last month. Family blamed me, threatened me, but I don't know for sure. Ava thought about Andrew's words, about the board's concerns, about how many enemies she'd made climbing to the top. James, is there any chance this is connected to me, to saving my life? He frowned. Why would it be? I don't know, but the timing feels wrong. You save me, then suddenly your home burns down. That's paranoid. Maybe. Or maybe someone wanted to send a message. To you, to me, to both of us. James sat down on her couch, suddenly looking every bit as exhausted as his daughter. I just want her to be safe, that's all that matters. She will be, I promise. He looked up at her. You can't promise that. Watch me. Something passed between them then, something that felt like trust, fragile and new but real. Ava's phone buzzed. Marcus. I heard about the fire. Is he there? Yes, he and Amelia. They're staying with me. Ava, that's not a good idea. The board is already questioning your judgment. Having him move in will make things worse. I don't care what the board thinks. You should. Andrew's been talking to them, planting doubts. He wants your job, Ava, and you're giving him ammunition. Ava looked at James, who'd closed his eyes on her couch, at the soot still on his face, at his hands, which were shaking slightly. Let him try, she said. I'm done playing it safe. She hung up. Over the next 3 days, things settled into a strange new normal. Amelia went to school from Ava's penthouse, taking a car service Ava insisted on. James went to work, still pulling his 3 jobs, still refusing to let Ava help beyond the housing. And Ava started digging. She called in favors, private investigators, security consultants, people who knew how to find answers when the police couldn't, and what they found made her blood run cold. The fire had been set by a professional, someone who knew how to make it look random, and the timing matched up with something else. The day before the fire, James had filed a complaint with the hospital board about a medication recall, a recall Ava's company had been fighting tooth and nail because the medication was profitable and recalls were expensive. She sat in her office staring at the report, feeling sick. Andrew knocked, didn't wait for permission, just walked in. We need to discuss Dr. Rohr. No, we don't. Ava, he's living with you. The press is going to have a field day when they find out. The woman whose life he saved is now housing him. It looks like payment, like coercion, like gratitude, like basic human decency, like a scandal waiting to happen. And more importantly, he's become a liability. His complaint about the medication recall is causing problems. The FDA is asking questions. Our stock dropped 2 points yesterday. Ava stood up slowly. Did you have something to do with the fire? Andrew's expression didn't change. That's a serious accusation. It's a serious question. I don't know anything about any fire, but I do know that Dr. Rohr has become a problem for this company, and problems need to be solved. Get out. Ava. Get out before I have security remove you. He left, but his smile said he'd already won something. Ava called James immediately. Don't go to work today. What? Why? Just trust me. Stay home. Keep Amelia home. I'll explain later. But you're scaring me. Good. Be scared and be careful. I think Andrew's behind the fire. I think he tried to hurt you, to shut you up about the medication recall. Silence. Then that's insane. Is it? You filed a complaint. 2 days later, your home burns down. He just admitted in my office that you're a liability. He wouldn't. He would. And he did. And I'm going to prove it. She spent the rest of the day gathering evidence. Phone records, financial transactions, security footage. By midnight, she had enough to bury Andrew and half the board with him. But when she got home, James was waiting for her with a packed bag. We're leaving, he said. What, why? Because you were right. This is about you, about me saving you. And as long as we're connected, Amelia's in danger. I can't risk that. James, no, we can fix this. I have evidence. You can what? Fight your entire company. They'll destroy you. And in the crossfire, my daughter gets hurt. I won't let that happen. Where will you go? Somewhere they can't find us. Ava felt panic rise in her throat. You can't run forever. Watch me. James, please, let me help. You've helped enough. This whole thing started because you wouldn't let me walk away, because you needed to understand me, needed to repay me, needed to fix whatever was broken inside you that made you feel guilty for being who you are. and now my daughter almost died because of it." The words hit like physical blows. "That's not fair," Ava whispered. "So, life's not fair. You taught me that. Now I'm teaching you something. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is leave them alone." He called for Amelia. She came out crying, not understanding why they had to leave the pretty apartment with the park view. "I don't want to go," she said. "I like it here. I like Ava." "I know, baby, but we have to." Amelia hugged Ava tight. "Thank you for letting us stay. You're nice. Don't let Daddy tell you you're not." They left just after midnight. Ava stood in her empty penthouse and felt something crack inside her chest. He was right. This was her fault. Her need to fix things, to control things, to prove she was more than a heartless CEO had put a 10-year-old girl in danger, and now they were gone. Her phone rang. "Marcus, the board just called an emergency meeting. Andrew presented evidence that you've been making unstable decisions since your medical crisis. They want you to step down temporarily, for your own good," they're saying. Ava looked around her empty apartment, at the room where Amelia had slept, at the space where James had stood just minutes ago telling her to leave him alone. "Let them try," she said. "I'm not done fighting yet." Because maybe James was wrong. Maybe the best thing you could do for someone wasn't leave them alone. Maybe it was fight for them, even when they pushed you away. She'd saved his life. Now she was going to save his future, whether he wanted her to or not. The emergency board meeting happened at 7 in the morning. Ava walked into the conference room with her head high and her evidence in a leather folder. 12 board members sat around the table like a jury. Andrew sat at the far end, looking confident. "Thank you for coming, Ava," Richard Chen, the board chairman, said carefully. "We've asked you here to discuss some concerns about your recent behavior and decision-making." "You mean Andrew asked you here?" Ava said. "Let's be honest about what this is." Andrew smiled. "Ava, we're all concerned about you. Your medical crisis was traumatic. No one's questioning your past leadership. We're simply suggesting you take time to recover. Let someone else handle day-to-day operations for a few months. Someone like you, if the board thinks that's appropriate." Ava opened her folder. "Before we discuss my fitness to lead, let's discuss arson, corporate espionage, and attempted murder." The room went silent. "That's a serious accusation," Richard said. "It's a serious crime." Ava pulled out documents. 3 days ago, Dr. James Rohr's apartment was deliberately set on fire. His 10-year-old daughter was inside. The fire started 2 days after Dr. Rohr filed a complaint about our medication recall. The recall we've been fighting because it would cost us $40 million. "That's coincidence," Andrew said smoothly. "Tragic, but coincidence." "Is it because these phone records show you called a known arsonist 12 hours before the fire? These financial records show you paid him $50,000 from an offshore account. And this security footage shows you meeting with him in a parking garage the week before." She spread the evidence across the table. Board members leaned forward, their expressions shifting from skeptical to shocked. Andrew's smile faded. "This is fabricated. She's unstable and desperate. The FBI doesn't think it's fabricated. I sent them copies of everything this morning. They should be arriving to question you in about 30 minutes. You're bluffing. Try me." Richard picked up the phone records. "Andrew, is this your number? I want my lawyer." "That's not an answer." "I'm not saying anything without my lawyer." Ava leaned forward. "You tried to kill a child to protect profit margins. You tried to silence a man who saved my life because he was inconvenient, and you thought I'd just step aside and let you take over. You don't know me at all." The conference room door opened. 2 FBI agents walked in. "Andrew Morrison." Andrew stood up, his face pale. "This is a mistake. You have the right to remain silent." They walked him out in handcuffs. The board sat in stunned silence. Richard cleared his throat. "Ava, we owe you an apology. You owe Dr. Rohr an apology. You owe every patient who trusted us an apology, and you owe this company better than what we've become." She gathered her papers. "I'm instituting the recall, immediately, full transparency, and I'm restructuring our pricing model on 12 essential medications. We'll still be profitable, just not obscenely so. The shareholders won't like that. Then they can sell their shares. I'm done prioritizing profit over people." She walked to the door, then turned back. "Oh, and I'm taking a leave of absence. 2 weeks. When I come back, we're going to discuss what kind of company we actually want to be." She left before anyone could argue. Outside the building, Marcus was waiting. That was either brilliant or career suicide. Probably both. "Did you find them?" "No, James is good at disappearing. Military training. He knows how to stay off the grid." Ava closed her eyes. "Keep looking." "Ava, maybe he's right. Maybe the best thing is to let him go." "I can't." "Why not?" She didn't have an answer. Or she did, but it was too complicated to explain. How do you tell someone that a stranger's blood in your veins made you feel more alive than your entire empire, that for the first time in 20 years, you cared about something more than quarterly earnings, that you were falling in love and didn't even know it until he was gone? "Just find him," she said. 3 days later, Marcus called. Brooklyn, small motel near Prospect Park. He registered under a fake name, but the desk clerk recognized him from the photo. Ava was in her car before Marcus finished talking. The motel was the kind of place people stayed when they had nowhere else to go. Peeling paint and flickering neon and the smell of desperation. Room 214 was on the second floor. Ava knocked. Silence. She knocked again. "James, I know you're in there. We need to talk." The door opened. James looked worse than she'd ever seen him, exhausted, defeated, like he'd stopped fighting and was just surviving. "How did you find us?" "I'm rich and stubborn. Bad combination." She tried to smile. "Can I come in?" He stepped aside. The room was tiny. 1 bed, a bathroom, a TV that probably didn't work. Amelia sat on the floor doing homework. "Ava." The girl jumped up and hugged her. "Did you come to take us home?" "Amelia, go brush your teeth," James said quietly. "But now please." She went, sensing the tension. James turned to Ava. "You shouldn't be here. Andrew's arrested. FBI has him. He confessed to hiring someone to set the fire. You're safe now." Something flickered in James' expression. Relief, maybe, but it died quickly. "That doesn't change anything. It changes everything. You can come home, both of you. You don't have to hide. Your penthouse isn't our home." "Then I'll help you find one, a real one. Let me—" "Stop." He held up a hand. "Just stop. Every time you try to help, things get worse. Can't you see that my life was fine before you crashed into it? Stable, safe. And now my daughter's traumatized, my home is gone, and I'm living in a motel running from people who want me dead because I had the misfortune of having rare blood." Ava felt the words like cuts. "That's not fair." "It's true. You're like a tornado, Ava. You touch things and they get destroyed. You don't mean to, but you do, because you can't help yourself. You have to fix everything, control everything, own everything, even gratitude, especially gratitude." "I don't want to own you. Then what do you want?" The question hung there. Ava opened her mouth, closed it, because she didn't know how to say it, didn't know how to explain that she wanted him to look at her and not see a CEO or a checkbook or a problem to solve. She wanted him to see her, just her, the woman who was terrified and lonely and didn't know how to be anything other than what she'd spent 20 years becoming. "I want to help," she said finally, weakly. "You can't help me." "That's what I've been trying to tell you. The best thing you can do is leave us alone." "James, please." His voice cracked. "Please just go. Every time I see you, I remember that my daughter almost died because of me, because I saved you, because I couldn't just walk away and leave well enough alone. So please, for Amelia's sake, just go." Ava left, not because he was right, but because she couldn't stand the pain in his eyes. She drove back to Manhattan in a daze, went to her penthouse, stood at the window looking out at the city that had always made her feel powerful and now just made her feel small. Her phone rang. Dr. Chen, Ava, you need to come in. Your blood work from last week showed concerning trends. I'm fine. You're not. Your antibody levels are rising again. Without regular transfusions from Dr. Rohr, his antigens are breaking down in your system. Your immune system is starting to attack itself again. How long? If we don't get you another transfusion within the next week, you'll be critical within 2. I've been trying to synthesize his blood profile, but it's not working. We need him, Ava. You need him. She hung up. Of course, even her body wouldn't let her walk away. His blood was keeping her alive, and without him she'd die. The universe had the worst sense of irony. She could call him, tell him she was dying again, make him feel obligated to come back, use his guilt and his medical oath against him. But she wouldn't, because he was right about one thing. She did try to control everything, and maybe the kindest thing she could do was let him go, even if it killed her. 4 days passed. Ava went to work, signed papers, made decisions, felt herself getting weaker. The doctors called twice a day. She ignored them. On the 5th day, she collapsed during a meeting. When she woke up, she was in a hospital bed again. Déjà vu in the worst way. Dr. Chen stood over her. We called Dr. Rohr. He's not answering. Don't call him again. Ava, you're dying. I know. Then let us help you. You can't. Only he can. And I'm not asking him to save me again. Marcus appeared in the doorway. You're an idiot. Nice to see you too. You'd rather die than call him. I'd rather die than force him to choose between saving me and protecting his daughter, because we both know what he'd choose, and we both know it would destroy him. So you're just giving up? I'm letting him go. There's a difference. Marcus pulled out his phone. Well, I'm not. Marcus, don't. Too late. He was already dialing. James answered on the 3rd ring. What? She's dying. Again. Needs your blood. Hospital won't tell you this because she told them not to, but she's got maybe 48 hours. Thought you should know. Silence. Then, she told you not to call me. She tells me lots of things. I ignore most of them. I can't. My daughter is safe. Andrew's in jail. The threat's gone, but Ava's not. And whether you like it or not, she's dying because she won't force you to help her. Because she actually listened to you for once and decided to leave you alone. So you can stay wherever you are and let her die with a clear conscience. Or you can get your stubborn ass to Manhattan Presbyterian and save her life again. Your choice. He hung up. Ava stared at him. I hate you. You'll thank me later. 6 hours went by. No James. Ava felt herself slipping. The machines beeped their warnings. Dr. Chen came in every hour with updates that weren't really updates, just confirmations that time was running out. We could try a synthetic transfusion, he said. It might buy you a few days. It won't work. You already tried. Ava, just let me sleep. I'm tired. She closed her eyes, drifted, dreamed of gray eyes and Brooklyn diners and a little girl who said rich people were like aliens, but with better phones. A voice pulled her back, small, scared. Is she going to die? Ava opened her eyes. Amelia stood at the foot of her bed holding James's hand. She looked terrified. No, James said firmly. She's not. But Daddy, you said I was wrong. He moved to Ava's bedside. Their eyes met. You didn't have to come, Ava whispered. Yeah, I did. Your daughter is safe, and she'd never forgive me if I let you die because I was too proud or too scared or too whatever I was being. He looked at Dr. Chen. What do you need? Your blood, as much as you can safely give. Then let's get started. The transfusion took 2 hours. Ava drifted in and out of consciousness, but every time she opened her eyes, James was there. Sometimes reading to Amelia from a borrowed book, sometimes just sitting, waiting. being present in that way he had of making space feel less empty. When it was done, when his blood was in her veins, again teaching her body how to live, she felt the shift, the easing, the quiet. "Thank you," she said. "Stop thanking me. I can't. You keep saving my life. Only because you keep almost dying." Amelia climbed onto the bed carefully. "Are you okay now?" "I'm better." "Good, because Daddy was really scared. He didn't say it, but I could tell. He gets quiet when he's scared." "Amelia," James warned. "What? It's true." She looked at Ava seriously. "He cares about you, even when he's being stubborn about it." Ava smiled. Yeah, he told me in the car. He said sometimes you care about people even when it's complicated and scary and you don't know how to do it right. He said that's what being human is." James closed his eyes. "I'm going to ground you until you're 30. For telling the truth, you always say honesty matters. I also say timing matters." Ava reached for his hand. He let her take it. "She's right, though," Ava said quietly. "It is complicated and scary." "Yeah, but maybe that's okay. Maybe." They sat there in silence, holding hands, while machines beeped and Amelia dozed off between them. Two people who'd saved each other's lives and didn't know how to stop being in each other's orbit. Two people who were broken in complementary ways. "I'm sorry," James said eventually, "for what I said at the motel. You're not a tornado." "Yes, I am, but I'm trying to be a better tornado." He almost smiled. "I don't know how to do this whole caring about someone who's not my daughter thing. I'm out of practice." "Me too, except I was never in practice to begin with." "Your husband was a merger. We were building empires, not a marriage. He died in a car accident 3 years ago, and I felt relieved more than sad. That's who I am, James. That's what I've been. That's what you were. Doesn't have to be what you are. You think people can change? I think they can try, if they have a reason." Ava looked at Amelia, sleeping peaceful now, her small hand resting on Ava's arm. At James, exhausted but here, at this strange family they'd accidentally built from trauma and blood and stubborn refusal to walk away. "I have a reason," she said. "So do I." But neither of them said what came next, because the truth was they didn't know. How do you build something real when it started with dying? How do you trust someone when everything about your worlds said you shouldn't? You do it badly, Ava thought. You do it scared. You do it one day at a time until maybe it stops feeling impossible and starts feeling like home. Dr. Chen knocked. "I need to run some tests, make sure the transfusion is integrating properly." James stood. "We should go. Let you rest." "Don't." The word came out desperate. Ava tried again, calmer. "Stay, please, at least until the tests are done." He sat back down, held her hand again. Amelia woke up. "Can we get pancakes after I'm hungry?" "We'll see," James said. "That means yes. You always say we'll see when you mean yes." "I do not." "You do. It's your tell. Ava, doesn't he say we'll see when he means yes?" Ava laughed, actually laughed. "I think she's got you figured out. I think she's got everyone figured out." But he was smiling now, really smiling. And Ava realized she'd never seen him do that before, not like this. Not genuine and unguarded and real. She wanted to see it more, wanted to learn what made him laugh and what made him relax and what made him feel safe enough to lower all those walls he'd built around himself. She wanted time and second chances and all the messy, complicated, scary things that came with letting someone matter. "Pancakes sound good," she said. "After the tests, all of us." James squeezed her hand. "Okay." It wasn't a declaration, wasn't a promise, just okay, but it was enough. For now, it was enough. The pancakes turned into dinner because the tests took longer than expected. Dr. Chen wanted to be thorough, wanted to understand why James's blood worked when nothing else did. By the time they left the hospital, the sun was setting over Manhattan, and Amelia was practically falling asleep on her feet. They ended up back at Ava's penthouse. James didn't argue this time, just carried his daughter to the guest room, tucked her in, and came back to the living room where Ava was standing at the window. "She thinks this is home now," he said quietly. "Every time we leave, she asks when we're coming back. Is that a bad thing? I don't know what it is." He sat on the couch, rubbing his face. "A month ago, my life made sense. Now I don't recognize any of it." Ava joined him, keeping some space between them. "Want me to apologize for that?" "No, maybe, I don't know." He looked at her. "Do you ever feel like you're standing on the edge of something and you can't tell if it's a cliff or solid ground?" "Every day since I woke up from that first transfusion." "How do you deal with it?" "Badly. I make spreadsheets and business plans and pretend I can control outcomes like they're quarterly projections. But people aren't numbers. And this thing between us, whatever it is, it doesn't fit into any model I understand." James leaned back, closing his eyes. "My wife died 3 years ago. Emma, cancer. We caught it late because she kept saying she was fine, she was just tired, she was just stressed. By the time she admitted something was wrong, it was everywhere. Stage 4, 6 months from diagnosis to funeral." Ava didn't say anything, just listened. "The hospital made mistakes, misread tests, delayed treatment, lost paperwork, and I watched her die knowing that if they'd been more careful, more thorough, she might have had a chance. That's why I never finished my residency. Couldn't stay in that system. Couldn't be part of the machine that killed her." "I'm sorry. Your company made the drug she needed, the one that might have bought her more time. Know what it cost, $12,000 a month. Insurance covered 8. We couldn't afford the rest, so she went without. And she died." He opened his eyes. "That's why I was angry when I found out who you were. Not just angry, furious, because you profit from people's desperation, from families like mine who have to choose between medication and rent." Ava felt the words like physical blows. "You're right. I know I am. So why did you save me anyway? Why come back when I was dying again?" James was quiet for a long time, because anger is easier than grief, and grief is easier than admitting that maybe not everything is black and white. You're not the system that killed Emma. You're just a person who benefited from it. Same way I'm just a person who couldn't save her. That's not the same, isn't it? I had medical training. I saw the signs. I should have pushed harder, demanded tests sooner, been more vigilant, but I was tired, working 3 jobs, raising Amelia, and I told myself Emma was fine because that was easier than facing the truth. So yeah, the system failed her, but so did I. James, you can't blame yourself for— Why not? You blame yourself for everything your company does. Why can't I blame myself for not saving my wife? The question hung between them. Because it's not the same, Ava said finally. You loved her. You did everything you could. The system failed her. I helped build that system. That's on me. Then fix it. I'm trying. The recalls, the pricing changes, all of it. But it's not enough. It won't bring Emma back. It won't undo the damage. No, but it might save the next Emma, and the one after that. Isn't that worth something? Ava looked at him, this man who'd lost everything, and was still trying to believe the world could be better. How are you not bitter? How are you not destroyed by all of it? Who says I'm not? He smiled sadly. I'm just good at hiding it, had 3 years of practice. Is that what we're doing? Hiding. Maybe. Or maybe we're just trying to figure out how to be whole again, how to let someone in without it feeling like betrayal. Is that what I feel like, betrayal? James reached for her hand. Sometimes. You're everything Emma wasn't. Rich, powerful part of the world that killed her. But you're also the person whose life I saved. The person who risked everything to protect my daughter. The person who's trying to be better even when it costs you. And I don't know how to reconcile those things. So don't. Just let them both be true. You make it sound simple. It's not. Nothing about this is simple. But maybe that's okay. Maybe complicated is just what we get. He didn't let go of her hand. I should tell you something. The night of the fire, before everything went wrong, Amelia asked me if I liked you, And I said no. I said you were my patient and nothing more. She said I was lying. Kids always know. Were you lying? Yeah, I was terrified because I did like you. I liked how you showed up at my apartment demanding answers. I liked how you fought the board, even when it meant losing everything. I liked that you ate diner food with Amelia without once acting like you were above it. And I hated that I liked it because it meant Emma wasn't the last person I'd care about. It meant moving forward, and moving forward felt like leaving her behind. Ava's throat tightened. Did she ever tell you to move on before she died? Every day. She made me promise I wouldn't become one of those tragic widowers who built a shrine and stopped living. Made me promise I'd find someone else when I was ready. I told her I'd never be ready. He looked at their joined hands. Maybe I was wrong. Or maybe you just needed someone stubborn enough to ignore when you said no. You are incredibly stubborn. Runs in the family. My mother once negotiated a merger for 6 months just to prove she could. That explains a lot. They sat in comfortable silence, not the awkward kind where you're searching for words, the kind where words aren't necessary. James's phone buzzed. He checked it, frowned. It's the hospital. They want me to come in tomorrow. Something about Emma's case. What about it? I don't know. They said it's important. He stood. I should go. Let you rest. Stay, Ava said it without thinking. I mean, it's late. Amelia's already asleep. You could stay in the other guest room. Save you the trip back and forth tomorrow. Ava, I'm not trying to trap you here. I just thought it might be easier. For Amelia, for you, for me, honestly. I sleep better when I know you're close. The admission surprised them both. James pumped back down. Okay, we'll stay. Okay, but I'm taking the couch. Guest room's too nice, makes me nervous. That's ridiculous. That's non-negotiable. Ava laughed. Fine, couch it is. She got him blankets and a pillow. When she came back, he was standing at her window, looking out at the city the same way she always did. It's different from up here, he said. Everything looks smaller, manageable. That's the illusion. Nothing's actually manageable. You just feel like it is from far enough away. Is that why you built this? The height, the distance, all of it? Probably. Easier to control things when you're not in the middle of them. Easier to make hard decisions when people are numbers on spreadsheets instead of faces you know. But I'm a face you know now. Yeah, you are, and it makes everything harder. He turned to face her. Good. Good. Yeah, hard means real. Hard means it matters. Easy would mean we're both just going through motions. Ava stepped closer. They were inches apart now, close enough that she could see the exhaustion in his eyes, close enough to count the silver threads in his dark hair. I don't know how to do this, she said. I've never been good at the personal stuff. I know how to negotiate and strategize and win, but this being vulnerable and honest and just being, I don't have a playbook for that. Good thing neither do I. We can figure it out together. What if we mess it up? Then we mess it up, and we try again. That's what people do, right? They try and fail and try again until eventually they get it less wrong. That's a terrible motivational speech. I'm a doctor, not a motivational speaker. Ava smiled. Then before she could overthink it, she stood on her toes and kissed him. Quick, soft, a question more than a statement. James went very still. For a second, Ava thought she'd made a terrible mistake. Then he kissed her back. Slower, deeper, an answer that felt like yes. And finally, and this is terrifying, but I'm doing it anyway. When they pulled apart, he rested his forehead against hers. That was unexpected, he said. Bad unexpected. No, just unexpected. I didn't think you'd make the first move. Why not? Because you've been so careful, so respectful of boundaries. I assumed you'd wait for some clear signal. I'm tired of waiting. Life's too short. I nearly died twice. Both times the last thing I thought about was you. That feels like a pretty clear signal to me. James smiled, really smiled. The kind that reached his eyes and made him look 10 years younger. Okay then. Okay what? Okay, let's do this, whatever this is. Let's try. Just like that. Just like that. With one condition. What? We tell Amelia. Soon. Before she stages an intervention. She's been trying to set us up for weeks. Ava laughed. She asked me yesterday if you'd be a good mom. Said you seemed sad and that sad people need families to make them less sad. That's heartbreaking and adorable. That's Amelia. She sees things clearly. No filters, no pretense, just truth. What did you tell her? I told her I didn't know yet, that we were still figuring things out. She said adults always say they're figuring things out when they're really just scared. Smart kid. Too smart sometimes. They stood there close but not touching now, both processing what had just happened. The shift, the commitment, the decision to try, despite all the reasons they shouldn't. I should let you sleep, James said finally. Tomorrow might be complicated. Why, what's the hospital meeting about? I don't know, but they sounded serious, almost formal, made me nervous. Ava squeezed his hand. Whatever it is, we'll handle it. You're not alone anymore, neither am I. That's what this means, right? Yeah, that's what this means. The next morning they went to the hospital together, all three of them. Amelia chattered the whole way about her science project and how she got an A and how her teacher said she should consider being a doctor like her dad. Or a CEO like Ava, Amelia added. Or both. Can you be both? You can be anything you want, Ava said. Good, because I want to be an astronaut who runs a hospital on Mars. James smiled. Aim high, kid. At the hospital, they were led to a conference room. Dr. Chen was there. So was the hospital administrator, two lawyers, and a woman Ava didn't recognize. Dr. Rohr, thank you for coming, the administrator said. This is Sarah Mitchell from the hospital's legal department. We asked you here because we've completed an internal investigation into your wife's case. James went very still beside Ava. What investigation? After Andrew Morrison's arrest, several irregularities came to light in our records, including your wife Emma Rohr's treatment files. Dr. Morrison had access to those files during her treatment. We discovered he deliberately delayed test results and altered paperwork to extend her diagnostic timeline. The air went out of the room. Why? James' voice was barely a whisper. We believe he was conducting unauthorized drug trials, using terminal patients without consent. Your wife was one of them. He needed her to stay sick longer to complete the trial protocols. When she deteriorated faster than expected, he covered his tracks and blamed systemic errors. Ava felt James's hand crushing hers. She held on. So she could have been saved, he said. We can't say that definitively. But yes, earlier intervention would have significantly improved her odds. Dr. Rohr, on behalf of Manhattan Presbyterian, I want to apologize. We failed your wife. We failed you. And we failed your daughter. Apologies don't bring her back. No, they don't, but this does. Sarah Mitchell slid papers across the table. We're prepared to offer full disclosure of our findings, a formal admission of negligence, and a settlement that reflects the magnitude of our failures. Additionally, we'd like to offer you a position as head of emergency medicine if you choose to return to practice. James stared at the papers like they might explode. I don't want your money. It's not about the money, the administrator said gently. It's about accountability. Andrew Morrison is facing criminal charges. Several other staff members involved in the cover-up have been terminated. We're implementing new protocols to ensure this never happens again, but we need you to know that what happened to Emma wasn't your fault. You didn't fail her. We did. James stood abruptly. I need air. He walked out. Ava looked at Amelia, who was wide-eyed and confused. Stay here with Dr. Chen, Ava said. I'll be right back. She found James in the stairwell sitting on the steps, with his head in his hands. 3 years, he said. 3 years I've been telling myself I should have done more, should have known sooner, should have saved her, and it was him. It was Andrew the whole time. Ava, and beside him, I'm so sorry. He killed her to run experiments, to collect data, and then he tried to kill my daughter to keep me quiet about your medication recall. How is that person even real? How does someone become that? I don't know. I worked with him for 5 years and I didn't see it. Or I saw it and told myself it was just ambition, just business. I'm sorry, James. I'm so sorry I brought him into your life. You didn't know. I should have. That's the thing. I built a company where someone like Andrew could thrive, where profit mattered more than people, where he could justify killing patients because it served the bottom line. That's on me. James looked at her. You're not responsible for what he did. Neither are you. That's what they just told you. So why can you forgive me but not yourself? The question stopped him. Because, he said slowly, forgiving myself means accepting that I can't change it, can't fix it, can't go back and save her. It means she's really gone and there's nothing I can do about it. She is gone, but you're not. Amelia's not, and Emma told you to move forward, so maybe it's time to actually do that. Not because you're forgetting her, but because carrying this guilt isn't honoring her memory. It's just making you suffer, and she wouldn't want that. James closed his eyes. Ava watched him wrestle with it, the grief, the rage, the need to blame someone even if that someone was himself. Finally, he nodded. Okay. Okay, what? Okay, I'll try. To let it go, to move forward, to accept that what happened wasn't my fault. He opened his eyes. But I'm not taking their job offer. I don't want to work for the hospital that killed my wife, even if they're trying to make amends. What do you want? I want to open my own clinic, community medicine, affordable care, everything the system isn't. He looked at her. Think a disgraced CEO and a widowed doctor could pull that off together. Ava felt something click into place. I think they could try. They went back inside. James signed the papers not because he wanted the settlement, but because he wanted the truth on record. Wanted Emma's name cleared. Wanted the world to know she'd been a victim, not a statistic. When it was done, he turned to the administrator. I'm donating the settlement, all of it, to a foundation in Emma's name for families who can't afford medications. I want it to help people like us, people the system failed. The administrator nodded. We'll make that happen. Outside, Amelia was waiting with Dr. Chen. She ran to James immediately. Are you okay? Yeah, baby, I'm okay. Dr. Chen told me about Mom, about what really happened. James shot Dr. Chen a look. The doctor shrugged apologetically and she asked, I thought honesty was better than uncertainty. Amelia hugged her father tight. It's not your fault, Daddy. You know that, right? It's not your fault. James held her and Ava saw the moment he finally believed it. The moment the weight he'd been carrying for 3 years started to lift. I know, he said. I know now. 2 months later, Ava stood in front of a press conference and did something she'd never done before. She told the truth. 5 years ago, I told myself I was building an empire. I told myself profit was the measure of success. I told myself the people who couldn't afford our medications were someone else's problem. And I was wrong. Demonstrably, catastrophically wrong. Andrew Morrison's crimes exposed the rot at the heart of my company. A rot I helped create by prioritizing money over morals. I'm here today to announce sweeping changes, price cuts on essential medications, transparency in our drug trials, a new ethics board with real power to halt any research that violates our values, and a $10 million donation to the Emma Rohr Foundation, which provides free medications to families in need. The press erupted with questions. Ava ignored them all except one. Miss Whitmore, what changed your mind? She looked at James standing at the back of the room with Amelia. I almost died twice. Both times I was saved by someone who asked for nothing in return. He taught me that some things matter more than profit, like integrity, like compassion, like being able to look at yourself in the mirror and not hate what you see. I'm not perfect. This company isn't perfect, but we're trying to be better, and that's all anyone can do. Try. Later in her office, James kissed her like he meant it. That was brave. That was terrifying. The board's going to revolt. Let them. You're doing the right thing. Because of you. No, because of you. I just reminded you who you could be. You're the one doing the work. Ava leaned into him. Move in with me, officially. You and Amelia both. That's fast. I'm dying, remember. Don't have time for slow. You're not dying anymore. Dr. Chen said your blood work is stable. My antigens fully integrated. You're cured. Then I'm asking because I want to, not because I have to. Move in with me. Start the clinic. Build something real, together. James was quiet for a moment, then he smiled. Okay. Just like that. Just like that. With one condition. What now? He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a simple gold band with a single stone. Not a diamond. Something else. Something that caught the light and turned it soft. Emma gave me this before she died. Told me to give it to the next person I loved, if I ever found them. Said she wanted part of her to be there when I moved forward. So here's my condition. Marry me, not today, not tomorrow, but someday, when we're both ready, when Amelia's ready, when it feels right, instead of rushed. Marry me and let's build a life that honors everyone we've been and everyone we're becoming. Ava stared at the ring, at him, at the impossible, beautiful, terrifying future he was offering. Yes, she said. Someday, when it's right. Yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. It fit perfectly. 6 months later, they got married in the hospital garden where James had first donated blood, where Ava had first been saved, where everything had started. It was small, just family and close friends. Amelia was the flower girl and cried happy tears through the whole ceremony. Dr. Chen gave a reading about second chances. Marcus served as best man and made jokes about how he'd known all along. When the officiant asked if they took each other, James said, I do, for better or worse, for complicated and messy, for all the ways we'll probably mess this up and all the ways we'll try to fix it. Ava laughed through her tears. That's not how the vows go. I'm improvising. Your turn. I do. For blood and belonging, for the life you saved and the life we're building. For every day I get to wake up and try to be worthy of you and Amelia. For everything. They kissed. Everyone cheered. Amelia announced loudly that she'd finally gotten her mom. Thank goodness, it took forever. Later at the reception, James pulled Ava close. You know this isn't a fairy tale, right? We're still going to fight, still going to struggle, still going to mess things up. I know. And you're okay with that. I'm okay with that, as long as we mess it up together. Deal. They danced while the sun set over the city, the same city where Ava had once stood alone in her penthouse thinking power was enough, where James had hidden from the world thinking safety was enough, where two broken people had found each other in the worst possible way and somehow turned it into something beautiful. Not perfect, not easy, but real and true and enough, more than enough. It was everything.